And now let's talk about Pakistan's iron brother, China. It is making more provocative moves. In recent days, we have witnessed two close calls. First, a Chinese fighter flew dangerously close to a US spy plane. Then two warships almost collided. Again, this confrontation was with an American warship. And today, China dispatched its jets again. This time, the target was Taiwan. 37 Chinese planes flew into the island's air defense zone. What's an air defense zone? It is like a border in the skies. If any plane enters this area, then they need to identify them. Otherwise, the plane would be seen as hostile. Today, China sent 37 military planes into this area. What kind of planes were these? The J-11 and J-16 fighters and nuclear-capable H-6 bombers. All these planes can't just be going to say hello. They are trying to threaten Taiwan. Taipei responded in kind. It activated its defense systems and sent its own aircraft and ships to track China's warplanes. These moves are not new. The Chinese military often undertakes such flights. These are pressure tactics. They're designed to remind Taipei how quickly the PLA can reach the island. This is China's way of keeping the threat of an invasion alive. Xi Jinping has not ruled it out. He has vowed to take Taiwan by force if necessary. What's different this time is the intensity. The PLA is stepping up its activities in the region. The reason is the United States. The US military is stepping up drills. It is also helping Taiwan enhance its capabilities. Today, a new arrangement was announced. US, Taiwan and Japan will now share data from their drones. The data will be shared in real time from the naval reconnaissance drones of the three parties. What is the purpose of this arrangement? To keep an eye on Chinese activities in these waters. US has roped in its allies to strengthen Taiwan's defenses. So in the event of any Chinese attack, US and Japan will be able to coordinate their actions. They'll be able to collect intelligence and inform Taipei about the PLA's movements. Soon, Taiwan will be receiving 4 new drones. They are MQ-9B Sea Guardian drones. They'll be delivered to Taipei by 2025. So what kind of capabilities does it have? It can track, find and target enemy ships and radars. Washington feels the need to bolster its defenses now. It believes China is increasingly getting aggressive in the region.
Sadly, Ed, these are part and parcel of an increasing level of aggressiveness by the PLA, the PRC's military, particularly in the area of the Taiwan Straits and in the South China Sea. The air intercept was over the South China Sea, and the maritime intercept that you talk about was in the Straits. And sadly, this is just part, again, of a growing aggressiveness by the PRC that we're dealing with, and we're prepared to address it.
China issued a response today as well. It accused the US and Japan of creating military tensions and threatening stability in the Taiwan Strait. But it is unlikely the US and its allies will back down. If China intensifies its operations near Taiwan, expect America and its friends to respond in kind. Now let's shift focus to Pakistan. It seems Pakistani politics is set to welcome a new player, the Istehkam-e-Pakistan party. It was announced amid some fanfare. Who are the members of this new party? Mostly former Prime Minister Imran Khan's one-time loyalists. Yes, the new party is made up of former Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party leaders. The head will be Jahangir Khan Tareen, or JKT. He's a former lawmaker and a billionaire sugar baron. Reportedly one of Pakistan's richest politicians too. He's also a man Imran Khan had personally appointed as PTI Secretary General. A lot of other former PTI leaders were present during the party's announcement. Fawad Chaudhry, Ali Zaidi, Mahmood Maulvi and more were present for the celebration. These are people who had defected from the PTI after May 9. That's when violence had erupted across Pakistan. It followed Imran Khan's arrest. The violence eventually spread to military buildings. And after that, one by one, the PTI leaders started jumping ship. They resigned, saying they respected and stood with the Pakistani army. Most also said they were taking a break from politics. It seems that break didn't last long. In the recent weeks, frantic meetings have been conducted. The former PTI members have been meeting their old colleagues. Those colleagues locked up in prisons. We reported on this recently. We also mentioned that Imran Khan was watching this scheme, the scheme being called Minus Imran. Khan had said a new King's Party was being formed. Well, it seems the King's Party has been coronated, crowned with the name Istehkam-e-Pakistan. Imran Khan believes this party is being propped up by the Pakistani army, that the military establishment has been coercing his party members to abandon him.
It is completely the establishment. I mean, establishment obviously means the military establishment, because they are really now openly, I mean, it's not even hidden now, they're just out in the open. The threats now and two of my senior members went to called by the ISI for talks, who had nominated for talks. And when they went, they shut them up and said, look, you'll only leave unless you renounce being part of PTI.
He put out this translated WhatsApp message a few days ago. It purportedly shows the immense pressure being applied to engineer what he calls forced divorces. Now it seems Khan's estranged partners have gotten together to take him down. But Khan won't be surprised. After all, the new party was expected. It's a tried and tested gambit in Pakistani politics. For now, Khan has secured bail in the case for 14 days. But it seems Imran Khan's problems just keep piling up. Another case has been filed against the former Prime Minister. This time, it's quite grave. It's an abetment to murder case. The Pakistani police say Khan is involved in the murder of a lawyer who filed a sedition case against him. Abdul Razak was killed on Tuesday by unknown gunmen on a motorcycle. Razak's son, Siraj Ahmed, has linked the murderers to Imran Khan. How Khan is linked hasn't been made public as yet. Khan, of course, denies it. He keeps blaming the establishment.
उस आदमी का वकील का कत्ल होता है, फैमिली सारी कहती है कि खानदानी दुश्मनी थी, उस पर कत्ल हुआ है, वहां पहुंच जाते हैं, यानी वो पता चलता है कि 9:30 बजे उसका कत्ल होता है, 4 घंटे के अंदर लॉ मिनिस्टर प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर देता है कि इमरान खान इसमें मुलव्वस था। 4 घंटे। कभी सोचे कि कोई कत्ल हुआ है, कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन होती है, कोई पता चलता है, वो 4 घंटे में कहता है इमरान खान इसके अंदर मुलव्वस है। और उसके बाद क्या होता है? उसके बाद आईजी उठाता है उसके बेटे को, रात तक आईजी उसको अपने पास रखता है, और उससे फिर एक और स्टेटमेंट आ जाती है कि जी ये इमरान खान ने कत्ल करवाया मेरे बाप को।
Officials say Khan could face formal charges if and when the murder case goes to trial. The charges would become part of a very long list. Annecy. It's an idyllic town in the south of France, nicknamed the Pearl of the French Alps. But today, the town woke up to a horrific incident, a mass stabbing attack. 6 victims, including 4 children. The victims are as young as 3 years old. That's the latest. So let's talk about how the attack took place. It was around 9:45 a.m. local time. Children were playing at a playground, one located near the town's famous lake. This is when a man armed with a knife entered this playground. Disclaimer alert, the details get gory from here. He began to stab a group of children as young as 3. Witnesses describe people running, crying, panicking.
Now it will take time until parents again take their children to playgrounds, since I think the trauma will stay forever in the town of Annecy, because this is the first time this has ever happened here, as far as I know. But now things like this will happen again in places that we don't expect. That's what will happen. Everyone expects this to happen in big cities like Marseille, Paris or Lyon, but now the target will be places where no one expects it, to put fear into people.
I would like to reiterate how terrified we are as people of Annecy, as French people, at this appalling attack on young children under the age of 2. just a few years old, in the heart of Annecy, in the historic Pacquiao Garden. It was an attack on humanity that took place this morning, an attack on our very soul, where young children playing outside school hours were attacked by an individual.
He then ran from that scene, attacking another man who was walking nearby. It was at this point that the police intervened. They quickly overpowered him. Reports suggest he was shot in the legs. Soon, he was arrested at the scene. In fact, the Interior Minister tweeted about the arrest, lauding the rapid reaction of security forces. Police have confirmed that the man is a 31-year-old Syrian who had refugee status in Sweden. The mayor of Annecy called it an appalling attack. French President Emmanuel Macron has denounced the stabbing on Twitter, calling it an act of absolute cowardice. The National Parliament too observed a minute's silence for the victims. For the town of Annecy, it was a moment of shock, a moment of horror. This is a town people go to a vacation. Many of them can't even imagine such an incident. But France is no stranger to these attacks. 2015, the attack on the Charlie Hebdo magazine, 12 people killed. 2015 again, the Paris attacks, the deadliest attacks in the history of France. 130 people killed. 2016, the Bastille Day attacks in Nice, 84 people killed. 2017 stabbing incident in Marseille, 2 women killed. 2020, another attack in a Paris suburb. The beheading of a teacher in broad daylight. 2022, a shooting incident in Paris, 3 killed, 3 others injured. And lastly, in January of 2023, another stabbing incident, that too at a Paris station. I know the list sounds long, almost never ending, but this is one of France's biggest problems right now. Islamist attacks and threats they can't counter. Homegrown terrorism is a huge worry for France, one that's fueling anti-migration sentiments in the country. Many of these attackers belong to migrant communities or those seeking asylum in the country. Some of them were French citizens but felt they were excluded from the French society. Experts have said it is unfair to blame immigration for the attacks. But for French right wing, this has been the perfect lightning rod. In fact, far-right leader Marine Le Pen blamed African migrants for crime in France. She called them a threat to French civilization. And a majority of France's population agrees. Data suggests immigrants account for a little over 10% of the population, around 7 million people. But the debate around them is far outsized. In fact, the government recently brought in a controversial bill, one that tries to deal with anti-immigration. The bill says it aims to control immigration while improving integration. But what it allows is greater deportation, especially for foreigners who commit crimes. Many slam it as racist, aiming to criminalize immigrants. It is still not sure how France will react to this attack, but it may reignite the anti-immigration debate. The attack is currently not being linked to terrorism. The French police are yet to confirm anything, and the details are still trickling in. What do you do when you are applying for a new job? You check the job requirements, the pay, the commute, maybe even consider job satisfaction. But what if the office gets back to you with a bizarre request, like only vegan lunches allowed? What do you do then? A job seeker faced the same dilemma. They were in for a rude shock when they got a mail from the potential employer. What did the reply say? Watch our next report to find out. Be on time. Understand your office environment. Respect others. Be polite and professional. Those are some of the usual rules that most offices have. Sounds normal, right? But what if your office had this rule? Vegan lunches only on site. Shocked, right? So was this Reddit user who posted about it. This is a mail he got from a potential employer. It says, and I quote, "Our workplaces are strictly vegan. You do not have to be vegan away from work, but you do need to bring a vegan lunch and have plant milk to eat on site or eat lunch off site. Can you confirm you are fine with this?" So basically, if they took the job, he would have to have only vegan food at work. Sounds bizarre, right? In fact, the post has divided the internet. Some believe it is fair for the company to do so. They argue that since the company asked first, it doesn't violate any employee clauses. They believe if a workplace wants to be vegan, they should be allowed to do so. The other side finds it radical. They believe no job is worth this much hassle. According to them, it is a stupid rule. But this isn't the first time office rules have divided the internet. Here's another one. It says work 10 minutes extra for every 1 minute that you are late. I mean, punctuality is a good trait, but this seems to have taken it a bit too far, and the internet agrees. How about this? A bathroom sign that said, employees must adhere to the time limit or face a smell check. Imagine that, an office that dictates how much time you spend in the loo. Of course, the internet was outraged. Bizarre office rules may be an anomaly, but they sure are creative. And if you think your job pays you well enough to only eat greens for a meal, go ahead and accept it. Or else keep looking. Preferably for ones which don't create unrest over your use of the restroom. And now it's time for Vantage Shots, images that tell the story. India has successfully tested a new generation ballistic missile. It's called Agni Prime. Meanwhile, wildfires in Canada are severely impacting parts of the United States. New Yorkers woke up to a hazy day that looked like a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie. And the Kilauea volcano erupted in Hawaii. This is one of the world's most active volcanoes. And finally, what makes June 8th significant? On this day in 1948, Air India's first international flight took off. It took off from erstwhile Bombay for London via Cairo and Geneva. Air India International came into being after industrialist J.R.D. Tata suggested that the Indian government should sponsor an international airline. We leave you with that. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.